Welcome, everyone, to Around the Book, Episode 7. Today, we're going to be going over Week 6 of the NFL and Week 7 of college football, and then we're also going to get into our NHL futures. The season kicked off yesterday for the NHL, so we're going to try to get these futures out to you before we get too late in the season. It's bad again. I didn't. I didn't think it was going to be like this again. But I'm 0 for 8 right now. I don't know how it. I feel like if I didn't try, I couldn't be this bad. But I'm trying. So yeah, it's bad. I do have some grievances, but if anyone else has anything they want to say first before I get into those, because I'm going to be pretty irate about them. But I'm going to try to calm down a little bit.
I just want to say before we do grievances, right there, you reminded me of Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day. So we're bad at gambling.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, it was a bad week again. I don't know if any of us have had like a great week besides JT in our first couple of weeks. I don't think I've been over 500 in any of my weeks yet, I did go 3 for 4 one week, but it feels like that was forever ago.
I went 3 for 4 this week. I think I might have done that earlier this year too, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. This was my first week with a losing record, I think. I think I've always split, either I win both my college games and lose both my NFL games, or I go 50-50 if I those have been my bad weeks so far. This week I went over, and it feels brutal. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, welcome to the club, JT. I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to here. Yeah, you're not going to get sympathy from me. I'll tell you that.
You're one of us now.
Yeah, you're one of us. One of us. Yeah.
Don't want this.
But yeah, I'm just gonna get into it. I should have trusted my gut. I should not have went UK. They are terrible. Once again, we find out why they're the little brothers of the SEC when it comes to football and quite frankly basketball in the past 6 to 8 years. I mean, just terrible. They get you to this point where you think they're gonna just do something great, and then they play an actual team in Georgia and just get stomped. I did not see that coming. I thought they were at least going to cover, but of course they didn't. I don't know what to say. I'm done betting on them. I wish them no success in basketball. I want you all to refrain if I ever try to place a bet during the basketball season on them. Just tell me no, and I will never do it. You just have to remind me, because I'm tired of betting on them. I had a future on them last year in March Madness. They've just broke my heart too many times. I already don't like the fan base. I'm just done with it. Yeah, I mean, that Ohio State and Maryland, Ohio State can't score the ball. It's so frustrating. It's making me I'm already looking at the end of the season. If we're undefeated by Michigan week, which I don't see that happening, we're not going to be able to score to keep up with Michigan. My betting has made me stop enjoying the sport almost. It's just so frustrating that these teams aren't doing what they should be, or at least making things interesting.
Yeah.
All right. But I don't know if you guys have any grievances for the week.
I mean, I'm with you on the Kentucky thing a little bit. Just the SEC in general. I'm just done with the SEC. It's so unpredictable this year. It's just a flaming pile of garbage, and I don't want any parts of it anymore.
Same. Yeah, I mean, if you want to join my pack and never bet on UK anything, you can definitely join me.
I don't know if I'm betting SEC, period.
Okay.
Anymore this year. I'm done with that entire conference. That whole conference is dead to me after Missouri burned me.
Yeah. I thought they were going to pull it out. I honestly did.
Play defense.
Yeah.
I think what's happening is this year the SEC, in order to make Texas and Oklahoma feel more welcome next year, the SEC is just becoming the Big 12 and not playing defense anymore.
Yeah.
It's the only logical explanation.
Well, they're taking in half the Big 12, so it's
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah. Bringing in the habits. All right. Anyone else upset from last week?
I'm feeling the same way about a full conference ban about the MAC right now. Because, the MAC, lower tier teams, we get it. It's not always good football, but it's always fun. It's always entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, I watched one of the most miserable games I've ever experienced at any level.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're a Buffalo fan, I'm sure it was fine. But, gosh, Central Michigan, there were drops, there were penalties, there were turnovers. Anytime anything looked potential. And I thought to myself, okay, they have 44 points after the first drive in the third quarter. I think they're going to hit 52 pretty comfortably. I feel good about my bet here. CMU can move the ball. Buffalo can move the ball. They've been scoring all game. And then they just stop. It's just done. Buffalo ran out the clock for basically 2 full quarters. And CMU just slipped on banana peels up and down the football field. It was a disgrace of a game, and I am so bitter about it on so many levels.
So what conference are we going to have left after everyone joins into 2 conferences and we ban half of them?
Big Ten, just predictable.
Well, I'm getting to the point where I'm not going to bet on Big Ten either.
I was about to say Iowa. Just stick with that.
Let's bring back the Big East.
Yes. Yeah. If we bring it back, I would love that in college basketball the most, as far as like the old school teams in the Big East.
It was the best conference.
I feel like their football was so unpredictable, though, because like every year, just some random team would come out of the woodwork. Oh, this year's West Virginia.
Yeah.
Year's South Florida.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's good, though. That's what makes college football fun and college basketball fun.
Yeah.
No, but now we need to have 5 teams dominating every year.
I just want to go back to Florida Gulf Coast days. We just want those little teams that come out of nowhere, the Boise States, the Western Michigans. We want fun teams.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see that again.
Only way it happens is if the NFL gets its own minor league, which will never happen. Because why?
No.
Why bother? The NCAA will do it for free.
Yeah.
They'll develop your young players for free.
Yeah. There's no way a minor league team can pay as much as what these kids are getting in college, like these top tier prospects.
Well, if they did it like the NHL and MLB and signed them to rookie contracts, and then they play their first couple years for some minor league team in Birmingham from 18 to 20 instead of playing for Alabama. But why would anyone do that?
Right. I mean, you're getting more attention at Alabama. You're getting better coaching at Alabama. You're getting more money at Alabama. I mean,
Yeah.
These top tier
no reason to, but it's killing college football.
I mean, they're kind of killing themselves at this point.
Well, yeah.
Let it burn. I'm not even mad about it right now.
Yeah. I think, this whole year, I don't know. This college season's been crazy. But let's segue into our college picks for this week. All right. I'm not going to do anything crazy this week, but I'm picking it, so it's probably going to go crazy. My underdog, or no, let me start with my lock. It's going to be Louisville -7.5. I got that at -110. I put that bet in yesterday. They look great against Notre Dame. I know Notre Dame's the Notre Dame we all know and love, where they get hyped up for the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season. They lose a couple in a row. They're all like, oh, where's Notre Dame? And there they are with 2 to 4 losses at the end of the season. But Louisville's looking great, ranked 14th going into this week. They're going up against Pitt, who is 1-4 this year. They're struggling. They don't have any identity at quarterback. It's a crap show at Pitt. So I think Louisville's going to handle them easily at -7.5. I honestly think it's going to be a double-digit lead or a double-digit win for them. And my underdog for the week is going to be Oklahoma State money line +130 against Kansas. It is a 3-point spread right now. So to me in college, for me, seeing a 3-point spread in college is just a toss-up game. Anyone could win it. I think Kansas does have the better skill set and the better roster, but it's Oklahoma State. Kansas is new to the success. The football program, I think Oklahoma State's going to win this one. It's going to be close, but I think they'll end up pulling this out late. We'll probably get a crazy fourth quarter because it is going to be the Big 12. So, and it's going to be probably crappy football for the first 3 quarters. And then the fourth quarter is going to go crazy. And the game's at Oklahoma State, which I think gives them a little bit more of an edge. But those are my picks for the week in college football. Try to go a less crazy route and just see what I can do to probably get back on track, hopefully.
I like Louisville pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Louisville wasn't good this year.
Yeah.
All right. So my terrible picks that I'm optimistic about. The first one I feel actually pretty good about. I've got Duke -3.5 versus NC State. Duke is the home team. We got to see Duke play Clemson week 1, and they looked pretty good at home. That defense looked legit. They were feeding off a good crowd. And I know Riley Leonard is banged up coming into this game, and there's been some questions on whether he'd play or not. But every report I've seen, it sounds like he's trending in a very positive direction. So maybe getting that 3.5 now before he's officially in, and that number maybe widens a little bit. You know, that's a gamble I'm willing to take based on everything I'm reading. Even if he doesn't, I think Duke's defense is good enough. I like what they have there. I feel not great about it, but, you know, I feel a lot better with Riley Leonard playing, who's one of the better quarterbacks in the country. But, you know, I'll still ride with it. Duke -3.5. And then my underdog, I am going to take Iowa +10 versus Wisconsin. And, you know, I think Iowa will lose this game. I think Wisconsin, you know, we said last week, they're looking better and better each week. But, man, these teams are not offensive juggernauts. I mean, we knew it about Iowa. Wisconsin, they are in a transition. They are not the Wisconsin of old. You know, the powerhouse running team, the Jonathan Taylor. I mean, there are so many powerhouse running backs and offensive linemen that have come out of there. This is the new Wisconsin, and I don't know if I love it yet because I loved that old school style football. But I don't know if I love it just in the Big Ten, which is, you know, physical, it's gritty, it's tough. And Iowa's defense is the ultimate embodiment of that. And they have one of the best corners in the country for this, you know, spread offense that Wisconsin's running now. So I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take Iowa. Both these teams are right at the top of their division, you know, 4-1 and 5-1 respectively. That feels like a little bit too big a gap for me.
Yeah. I think – go ahead. Sorry, Dalton.
You're good now. You can go.
No, I was going to say I like the Iowa play. Like you said, I don't think they'll necessarily win, but I think they can cover on it.
Yeah. I also like the Iowa play. That's actually my lock this week. Iowa +10. That game is going to be close. I had half a mind to take Iowa money line, but I think it'll be close. We've loved making fun of Iowa on this show this year, especially Brian Ferentz, right? But, like, their offense isn't that horrible. Like, I mean, it's still below average. It's
Not that horrible.
Sure. But, like,
that's where you want to put your money, and the not that horrible department.
But, like, they can score on an average Big Ten defense. They can score.
Yeah.
They can get to 20 on an average Big Ten team, I think. And, you know, that's Wisconsin. If they were in the Big Ten East, they'd be middle of the pack. They might win the Big Ten West because they might win it by default, but they're not that good. I think Iowa's defense will keep it close, like you said, and yeah, this will be a close game and probably a toss up at best. That +10 just feels like a lock.
Yeah.
And then my underdog pick this week, I'm going UCLA money line +154 at Oregon State. UCLA, people don't realize their defense has been phenomenal this year. Really slept on unit. They have not given up more than 17 points at all this season. Their only loss, they just couldn't get anything going against Utah. But they still played well against that Utah team, and that Utah team looked very good against Oregon State. I think UCLA is a better team than Oregon State. Just overall, I think, right now the way the losses have gone, Oregon State is getting the benefit of the doubt from the AP, but I do think UCLA wins this game.
Yeah, I like that UCLA pick. They ruined my my chance of going 4-0 last week by beating Washington State, but their defense looked really good.
Yeah.
And I also think they're better than Oregon State. So those odds are pretty good. As for my picks this week, for my lock for college, I'm going with Miami at +3.5 versus North Carolina. Last week, we all know what happened with Miami. That was probably even Josh McDaniels wouldn't make that decision. I hope. It's not giving too much credit, but I think they're going to come out this week with, a lot of motivation after that. I think they got something to prove. They are playing North Carolina, which is a very good team. But they still played last week really well. It was against Georgia Tech, but they had the game won. They had a good solid game. They just could not, for whatever reason, could not take a knee and lost. But I think this is really just a vibes pick. I don't even have too much research behind this. I think they're just going to come out very motivated this week. So that's my lock. And then for my underdog, I'm going with Oregon, the Oregon money line. I got this at +130. I think it's at +124 now, so it dropped a little bit. This Oregon-Washington game is going to be probably the best one of the week, I think. Both these offenses are just incredible. I think Oregon has the edge on defense here over Washington, and both these offenses seem pretty even to me. This is going to be a close game no matter what, and I do like the odds for it. So for my underdog, we're going with Oregon money line.
Oregon has one of the best pass defenses in the country, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah.
that makes for a fun matchup against Michael Penix, who I haven't really checked overall, but I know he's one of the front runners for the Heisman right now.
Yeah, he's been really good. He scares me, but I think their defense has enough to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
What
you,
Oregon did to Colorado. Sorry, Casey. What Oregon did to Colorado was really impressive.
Yeah. I agree. That was a thumping. Did you see, talking about the Miami game, did you see Herm Edwards the other day on Monday? He said that Mario Cristobal needs to sit his team down and sit the defense down and be like, we were winning at this point when you guys went on the field. He's like, you guys have to get better. He's like, I'll get better. He goes, that's how you have to get through this. And then like Booger's just sitting back in his chair looking at him. He's like, nah, not today, Herm. Like, go sit down, bro.
I can't believe my defense blew this game.
Yeah. He was basically trying to put it on the defense. Like, I get it. Your defense should hold. But at the same time, you literally just need the ball and you win the game. Don't even put him in that situation.
Herm Edwards was Mr. You play to win the game. Wasn't he? Cristobal was not playing to win that game. He was playing to, let's see what happens. Maybe we win, but probably we don't.
That's like in Madden when you're playing your friend and you don't want to run the clock out, so you just start doing random stuff. That's basically what they did.
Yeah. I don't know. It was like the running back at a certain yardage or something. Did we ever find out why he ran that? Like that. The only thing that would make sense is if the running back was about to hit like a milestone yardage or something. That's the only thing I can think of.
Here's what I would say from my vast experience coaching middle school. You just want the reps. Like, that's the only way I could justify, this guy sucks. We should put him in and let him practice a little more. Oh, wait. I just put a sucky player in the game and he fumbled the ball.
Now, I don't think
I have no logic there for it other than that. They're just nonsensical.
I watched the replay like 20 times. I don't think he fumbled it. That's just me, but still. I don't know if you guys saw the replay. He looked like he was down. It was the slowest fumble I've ever seen.
They deserve it for.
Yeah, they deserved it. Don't get me wrong, they deserved
Yeah.
it, but it did not. I don't know. That was a dumb play.
For Miami's first loss too.
Yeah. I mean, that just didn't make any sense. All right, I guess we'll get into the NFL. Before we do, I don't know if anyone that's watching is a baseball fan, but the Diamondbacks are up 4-0 right now on the Dodgers. So,
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I am too. Anyways, let's get into our NFL picks. I was terrible last week in my NFL picks, so I'm hoping I did go a little bit risky on my underdog, but I'll start with my lock. I took the Niners versus Browns over 37.5 at -110. Now, they are in Cleveland. It's going to be a dry day, so there's no rain or anything. So I was shocked at this line because the Niners are averaging over 33 points a game right now. So, I mean, they're already almost hitting that over by themselves. I guess since Deshaun Watson might not play, the line was a little bit lower, but I think if the Niners can score 30, I think the Browns can get the other 7.5, I would hope, even without Deshaun Watson. And if it's anything like last week for the Niners, they're going to score more than 37.5, I would believe, by themselves. So this is the biggest lock I can think of for this week, in my opinion. Now, my underdog, it's a separate story. I'm going to go Jets money line at +265. The Jets defense is great. We all know that. If Zach Wilson could play a little bit above average, just kind of like he did against the Chiefs, I think he can pull out another game like that. Maybe not that as good as he played that game, but just a little bit less than that, would do. I think they can catch the Eagles sleeping. The Eagles are looking great. They're also undefeated. But the Eagles have to play the Dolphins in Week 7. I think they might be looking forward to that game a little bit, in my opinion. I think they can catch the Eagles sleeping here and possibly squeak out a win. So I like the Jets money line at +265 for my underdog.
So I'll talk about the Browns 49ers game a little bit because that's one I'm going to be picking as well. I'm taking Niners -5.5. Do you know what two teams have allowed the fewest points in the NFL this year?
The Niners and Browns.
The Niners and the Browns. Granted, the Browns had a bye week, so that's a little bit skewed.
Yeah.
But that defense is for real. I mean, Myles Garrett might be the best defensive player in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
But like you touched on, the Niners can score points. They're explosive. Everything about that team is fantastic. The Browns, I don't know who their quarterback is going to be this weekend. So if I have, two good teams, two great defenses, one great offense, and one what the heck's going on kind of offense, I'm going to roll with the team that's great on both sides of the ball. Comfortable win. Niners look unstoppable right now.
Yeah.
And then my other pick makes me want to vomit. I'm picking the Bears money line. And the Bears are bad. We know the Bears are bad. Everyone knows the Bears are bad. But they're playing the Vikings, who just lost Justin Jefferson, and the Vikings were bad with Justin Jefferson. So I don't know why the Bears are underdogs at home right now, but I'm going to pick them. And I like Justin Fields, what he's doing. I like very little else on that team outside of DJ Moore, but I like it better than what the Vikings are doing right now. And I'm getting points. I'll take Bear money line.
Yeah. I mean, they're on, like, Justin Fields on fire right now. Might as well ride the hot hand.
Sure, and I can't say Minnesota's better than Washington. Look what they did to Washington.
Yeah.
What are the odds on that?
Money
line?
Right now, the Bears are at plus 120.
Oh, it's not bad.
So
that's
it might have been a little
value.
different yesterday. Yeah.
All right. So, speaking of best defensive players in the league, we're going to get to my lock this week involves who I think is the best defensive player in the NFL. I hit both my NFL picks last week. My lock was betting an under with two teams, 2 of the 3 teams that were under 20 points for the year. Heading into that game, it was Saints and Patriots. Saints broke that. This week, we get the 2 remaining teams that still have yet to break 20 points, the Raiders and the Patriots. I love the under 41.5 at minus 110. I mean, like I said, we don't know if either of these teams can score 20 points. Even if one of them can, it's possible both teams could have season highs in points and the under would still hit. So they could both play their best offensive games of the year and we could still see the under. I don't see that happening. New England's offense looks atrocious. And the Raiders, surprisingly, aren't bad on defense, mostly because I think they have the best defensive player in the NFL in Max Crosby. I mean, he's not he's not pacing everybody in any of the statistical categories, but anyone that watched that Monday night game can just see he is different. His relentless pursuit of the ball in every play, it's just unreal what he's doing right now. And the way he is just a problem every snap. And he plays every snap. I mean, that one stunt where he ran around the entire defense, just mind-blowing. Or the entire offense. He ran around the entire offensive line. Just unreal. I know Belichick usually knows how to plan for everybody's best player, but right now I don't think the Patriots have the horses to deal with anybody. Anybody like that. And then on to my underdog this week. We're going Colts money line plus 164 against the Jaguars. Jacksonville coming off their London trip, probably a little jet lagged. Even if they are used to that trip as a team from doing it every year, probably still going to be an adjustment. Also, they're coming off a massive win against Buffalo. I mean, they beat a Bills team that had been playing excellent football. And they won like a fun nail biter of a game. I think you're going to see a big letdown from the Jags this week. And the Colts look like they might have the best 2-headed rushing attack in the NFL right now. With Jonathan Taylor being back, shook some rust off in last week. Probably start to see him get closer to his usual self. But while that's happening, Zach Moss looks incredible. I don't know what it is. Where was this guy in Buffalo all these years? But he looks great. I think the Colts can win an ugly one against the Jags, and I'll take solid value at plus 164.
The Colts are low key good this year. I'm really shocked with. I know Anthony Richardson won't be playing for the next few weeks, but dude, he's looked great. I was not expecting him to look as good as he has been, and I think that team they're just playing good ball. I don't know what else to say, and I think Gardner's going to be ready to play. So I really do like that pick.
Yeah, I think the Colts have the best backup QB in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Did any of you get a laugh out of like the day after the Colts caved and paid Jonathan Taylor, make him one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL? Zach Moss went out for 200 yards.
Yeah, he's like, not today, bro. You can make that money, but you're going to be behind me.
Like, Jim Irsay is just sitting somewhere in like a big leather chair staring at a fireplace with one strong tear rolling down his eye.
Yeah. Gosh. Freaking
poetic justice. All right.
Yeah.
So for my lock this week, I'm going to go with the Lions -3 against Tampa Bay at -110. I'm sorry, JT.
You will be.
I really like what I've seen from the Lions offense. They just look incredible. I don't expect them to blow Tampa Bay out of the water. I have been really impressed with Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay as a whole this year. I don't think they can keep up with Detroit's offense. That's about all the reasoning I have for that. And then for my underdog, I'm going to be going with Dalton here too. We're going with the Colts money line against Jacksonville. These teams played in week 1 and it came down to the wire. I think it was 31-21, I want to say, but up until Anthony Richardson got injured, the game was really close. And Richardson is injured, but as I said earlier, I think Gardner Minshew is one of the best backups, if not the best in the league. And just with how close this game was last time, +170, I think is really, really good odds here. Yeah. And then Dalton also brought up jet lag being a factor, and the Jaguars stayed there for 2 weeks, so I think that very well could be a factor. But yeah, for a game that was so close last time and really came down to the wire between these two teams in week 1, I think +170 is really solid odds here. The Colts are rolling, and I think this is a relatively safe underdog pick.
Yeah.
Damn, you got it +170?
I think I saw that yesterday. I don't know if it. What did you get it at?
164.
Okay.
They're currently up. Yeah, they're 164 right now.
Okay. Still.
Yeah.
I feel like the Colts always hand out a big loss to a team that's rolling every year. Like they did it to the Chiefs last year. I think was that last year or the year before? They just took their business. Yeah, I could see it happening. All right. So let's just hope that this week's better for us. I like all of our picks here. We're gonna do another touchdown parlay. Even though they have not been as successful as we've been wanting them to be. We're not going to give out the odds on it just yet because it's still pretty early in the week, so not all the sports books have all the odds out. But we'll give you our 4 guys, and I'll make sure to tweet out the odds just so everyone can see that. I'm personally going to go Deebo Samuel. I think it's going to be his time to shine against Cleveland. The last time they played Cleveland, he looked great. That was 2 years ago. And, Kittle had his time to shine last week. Juszczyk got his touchdown. Christian McCaffrey got his touchdown. I think it's Deebo time. So I'm going to go with Deebo this week.
All right. I'm going with Michael Thomas for my touchdown scorer. I think Carr and Thomas has a little chemistry going on. I think Thomas is consistently getting 5 or so catches a game. He's a safe intermediate option. He's not the explosive guy he was when, he went for 1,700 yards and was Offensive Player of the Year. Even then, he wasn't explosive. He was just getting a ton of targets and a ton of catches. So I think he still can do that. He can still get you the over the middle offensive, safety blanket kind of yards. And I think he can do some damage against the Texans defense. I don't think it's that good.
Yeah.
I'm taking Tyreek Hill this week. I'm just trying to get something that's going to hit because I feel like my side of the touchdown parlay hasn't hit in weeks. So we're going to play it really safe. Miami scores a lot. They're not playing a great team in Carolina. And with Devin Akane out, Raheem Mostert can't do all of the scoring. Someone else is going to have to find the end zone. Tyreek Hill's been one of their best offensive weapons all year, if not their best offensive weapon. So I feel like it's a safe pick.
I like that. You say Mostert can't take all the touchdowns, but it would not be surprised to see him have a 6-touchdown game in that offense.
For real.
And Tyreek still score that game as well.
Yeah. Why not put up 50?
Yeah.
All right. To give this parlay some boosted odds and some to look forward to on Thursday night, we're going to go with Rashee Rice for Kansas City at plus 190. So pretty solid odds here. Kansas, aside from Travis Kelce, the Chiefs receiving core has not been great. One person that has started to stand out in the past 3 weeks is Rashee Rice. He's gotten a lot more targets recently, and he got his first touchdown last week against Minnesota. The Broncos defense is not good. So that's all I really need to say about that. I think that at plus 190, these are solid odds for someone who I think is going to get some looks in the red zone this week.
Can I add a bonus one just for vibes alone?
Yeah.
So we got a game in London this week.
Uh-oh.
And, we got to get a theme touchdown because a few weeks ago, Drake London went into and got his touchdown. So, I mean, if London's getting a touchdown, King Henry's getting a touchdown in London.
Okay. Yep.
So,
all right. Lock it in.
I'm all about
I've been
those
convinced.
Yeah. Lock it in. Yeah, I do like that. I've been biting my tongue these past 3 weeks on picking Christian McCaffrey because I'm afraid as soon as I pick him is going to be the week that he doesn't score a touchdown. And I just want to see how long he can go. He's at 14 weeks right now. I just want to see how many.
We are the kids of death, so.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin things with McCaffrey. I love McCaffrey. I'm in a keeper league for fantasy, and I got McCaffrey in the draft like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been the greatest thing ever.
Dude, I just don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to mess anything up. Knock on wood. We'll just move on from the topic. We'll just leave it at that. All right. Now, for anyone out there that's listening, if you're like me, hockey is kind of a foreign sport to you. You know what it is. You get the gist of it. You know the teams. You might know a few players here and there. But other than that, you're kind of lost in the sport. Well, I'm going to try to do a crash course with everyone this year that might be new to hockey betting. And we're going to do our futures. So next week I'll actually have a few. If you guys want to, we'll talk about this, possibly do a few NHL picks for that night or for the next day. But we're going to do our futures for NHL. I'll start off. And I know we all have a little bit different as far as like what we're betting on for the futures, but I went with the Stanley Cup for the New Jersey Devils at plus 1,100. They were a pretty solid team last year. I think at plus 1,100, it's hard to pass up on that. Now, this could be one that you can cash out of early. That's my intention behind this one. I think they can win it all. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that the Devils will make it deep in the playoffs this year, but might not be able to get over the hump. Now, staying on the Devils train, I'm going to be betting on Jack Hughes for the Rocket Richard Trophy. Now, I know most people probably don't even know what that is. I just found out what it was yesterday. But I'm going to bet on it because I like points no matter what the game is. So for anyone that doesn't know what the Rocket Richard Trophy is, it's for the most goals scored within the season. Now, the winner last year had 64 goals. I think it was Connor McDavid. I could be.
That would be correct.
Okay. All right.
He is good.
Yeah, he is good. That's one of the few guys I've heard of. Jake, I'm not even going to try it. Anyways, Jack Hughes, He had 43 goals last year. He's still a young player. I got him at plus 3,000. Now, if he could pop off this year, we're feeling the vibes. The Devils go deep in the playoffs on the back of Jack Hughes. I'm rolling. I'm rich. I got all this money now after hitting both of these. So I'm going to go with Jack Hughes for plus 3,000, the Rocket Richard Trophy for most goals, and book it. I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, I'm convinced. All right, so I am also going to pick a Stanley Cup winner, and it's a pick I hate. So anyone who doesn't follow hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs are like the Dallas Cowboys. They are the Texas Longhorns. They're always back, but they're never back. They're always that hyped team, like, man, the Leafs are going to be good this year. And yet here we are. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since the 60s. And I'm taking the bait. The Leafs are going to be good this year. They're going to be really good. They're going to make the playoffs. They're one of the best, most talented teams in the NHL. And this is the year that they don't choke it all away. So
you sound like a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I have to say it with authority to convince myself. But realistically, there's just so much talent on this roster. I mean, it really is a stacked roster. It's absolutely loaded. So I'm just going to bet on the talent and ignore that screaming voice in my head that says, don't bet on these choke artists. And that's what I'm going to do.
If it makes you feel better, they did win tonight, so they are 1-0.
I'm already ahead of the game.
Yeah, they're on the way to an undefeated season.
That's my problem, though. I know they're going to make the playoffs. I know they're going to be good. It's just not choking in the playoffs because they always lose in like the first or second round, and they're always one of like the top 2 teams in the league.
Yeah.
So that's my pick for the Stanley Cup. I'm just going to roll with the plus 1,100 odds, and I'm going to take the talent. Part of that reason I'm going to take the talent is Austin Matthews. He is their top line center, their best player. He's going to be my pick for the Hart Trophy, which is basically the MVP in hockey. He is a long shot because Connor McDavid is plus 100 to win the MVP because he's the most incredible player I've ever seen in my life. But Austin Matthews is also really good. So if something happens to Connor McDavid, maybe he misses, a dozen games or so, Austin Matthews is that next dude. So I'm taking that extra plus 1,000 odds, and I'm just going to see what happens. And then I'm doing a homer pick because, that's who I am. I'm taking the Red Wings to make the playoffs or over on 86.5 points? I said make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they're plus 200 to make the playoffs. Red Wings are finally starting to come out of this rebuild that Steve Yzerman has been shepherding for the last several years. And I just really like their depth. I like their top line. Dylan Larkin's always been an underappreciated player. They traded for a top line scorer, Alex DeBrincat. He's a 30-goal scorer throughout his career. And they are just super deep top to bottom. I mean, you're going to get like 20, 25 goals from third-line guys. It's a really talented, tough, gritty team. And I think this is the year they finally lift their heads and start that next great playoff streak.
All right. So I like those picks. I am going with the Stanley Cup pick as well. And I'm going talent and long odds. I like the Rangers at plus 1,300. They got very close last year, made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I honestly think last year they kind of arrived a year early on the scene as a contender. I think this really is the year where they're going to really start putting it together. They have so much talent, and it's a good mix. So you've got your young guys in Lafreniere and Capo Caco, and then you've also got veterans that know how to get it done in Zibanejad, Trocheck, even some older guys like Bonino. And the biggest thing that I think really allows you to go on a cup run is your goaltending. And they got a really good goalie already in Igor Shesterkin. And on top of that, if things don't go well with Shesterkin, or if he gets hurt, or if he just hits a bad slump, they got Jonathan Quick, who I know is old. I think he's 37 now. But even still, in a pinch, Jonathan Quick can get you 30. In a playoff game, Jonathan Quick can get you 30 saves, I think, even at his age. I like the balance that the Rangers have. They just have all of the pieces to grind it out. I don't know if they're going to have any one guy that it has a good shot at winning any scoring titles or MVP or anything like that. So I'm just sticking with the cup pick, but I really like this roster from top to bottom.
Yeah, heavy on that Jonathan Quick in the playoffs. As a Sharks fan, I have nightmares about playing him in the playoffs back in the day. Yeah,
God, he was a nightmare back then.
He'll shut down the best offense in the league. So I have two NHL futures. The first one, I'm going with the Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche at plus 1,000. Colorado won it 2 years ago. Last year, they lost in the first round to Seattle. You can call it the little late Stanley Cup hangover, maybe some injuries, but Seattle was a pretty good team. They almost made it to the Western Conference Finals. So it didn't work out last year. I think, they're one of the most talented teams in the league easily. And at plus 1,000, those are decent odds for a team who we know can get it done. And then I'm also going with Jake Ottinger to win the Vezina Award at plus 1,200. That award is basically for the best goaltender in the league. Ottinger is pretty young. He's only 24, but he had his best season last year. He was really good in the playoffs with the Dallas Stars. I think he's going to be one of the best goaltenders in the league easily, and I think he will be for years to come. At plus 1,200, these are pretty solid odds. So I'm going to keep rolling with him, progressing as he has, and I think he can take home this award this year.
I really like that Avalanche pick just because I think they're the best team in the Western Conference. And the Western Conference is so much weaker compared to the Eastern Conference. It doesn't feel like it's going to be like an easy path necessarily, but compared to like the Maple Leafs and the Rangers and the Devils, the teams we bet on, it is an easier path for the Avalanche. So I think that's a smart bet compared to the one I gave.
Yeah, the only team they really have to worry about is Vegas. Aside from that, I don't really think there's another real Stanley Cup threat in the
Dallas is pretty good, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, they made it. I want to say to the Western Finals.
I think they did
last year. Or I'm completely blanking for some reason.
Who, Dallas?
Yeah.
Dallas last year got knocked out by Calgary in the first round, but they went 7 games. I think the year before, though, they had a deep run.
Yeah, they did recently, and I think they still have most of that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the year before then. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a decent shot we're going to see Colorado in the finals next year.
Yeah.
And we know they can win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I cannot say that about my bet.
Yeah, it might be the opposite.
We had our neighbors 2 houses down would watch Maple Leafs games on his back deck every night. So I would.
What a miserable existence.
Yeah, I guess they were,
and that's coming from a Flyers fan.
I think he was. I think they lived in Florida before, and then they moved up to Kentucky near, and then I would just hear him back there.
Yeah.
He'd be all excited during the regular season. I think it was maybe game 1 of the playoffs. I don't know, but he was just set. You could tell he was getting upset.
Every time April rolls around, you just hear him start yelling at the TV.
Yeah. because
I
it's like
feel
so,
for him.
yeah, yeah.
That's one of
But
those teams I don't get.
What?
Leafs. Just the Maple Leafs. There's like one of those teams I just like. I just don't get like what people's appeal is that are fans of that team. Kind of like the Jets for NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't like. There's just some teams. It's like they have fans. Why?
I mean, at least the Maple Leafs have good rosters and they have good regular seasons. You know, it's like you can see it. Like, yes, this is our year. I get it. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for Maple Leafs fans growing up near Detroit. You know, they would always invade our arena. And they had such a strong showing. But you're right. It's just got to be soul crushing for them.
Because they spend every year. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. It's not like they're tanking. They spend every year, and at best, you get a decent playoff run.
This is how it felt to be a Sharks fan from like 2010 to 2018. There was one year they won the President's Trophy, which is the top team in the regular season, and I think they lost in the first round.
Yeah. They lost to the Red Wings. Was
that a
Red
Wings
Wings
series?
times,
Didn't they?
They probably did, yeah.
They were always
just
great.
Always coming in the playoffs as like the third seed at the lowest, and then best they get is like the second round.
And then they'd run into Jonathan Quick and the Kings.
Exactly. Yeah. We even had the reverse sweep. That's my nightmare of Quick. Is that reverse sweep. Yeah. Because he was terrible like the first 3 games of that series, and I'm sitting here like, oh, we finally figured out Jonathan Quick. Like this can be a sweep. And yeah, we might have scored like 3 goals the rest of the series.
He's unreal.
All right. Well, I guess next week we'll do NBA futures since the NBA season starts on the 24th.
Do we think one of these other sports is where we find our niche? Like, you know,
I'm
it's been
hoping.
rocky for football, but maybe we just shine in weekly NFL or NHL parlays.
Yeah. You know how like people say you get beginner's luck on things? I feel like I get beginner's luck since I'm going to be a new NHL fan. So I'm just going to hope that carries over. Now, if anyone watching wants to tell me who I should be a fan of, what team, I'm open. My allegiances lie nowhere. So
you got to commit early.
I know. I'm definitely not going to be a Leafs fan, especially if they're compared to Cowboys fans. So definitely cross that one out. But yeah, we'll do NBA futures and we'll do college basketball futures as well here coming up soon. So, but we're gonna make sure we stick on the football this season. But just be aware we're definitely gonna branch out after football season for these. So that's why we're just getting the futures out of the way now. But we appreciate everyone watching. If you could just share it, like it, let us know what you think. I'll be tweeting out the anytime touchdown parlay with odds. That way everyone's aware of that. We appreciate you guys again for watching and let us know how you're doing this week on your bets, what we may have missed or what you might not have liked about our bets, and we'll talk to you about that. But we appreciate it and have a good night.